Okay, so here's our basic logo that I made earlier from the other video. I decided to keep this next practice one in the same file. So what I've done is gone to my window and opened Artboards. Here's my Artboard panel that opened, and all I have to do is click on that plus sign at the bottom, and I've got a fresh new artboard. And then I'm done with that for now, so I'm just going to close that panel. And let's zoom in just a little bit. I'm holding down the Alt key and my mouse dial if I want to zoom in. You can see I have some other panels pulled up here that we're going to be working with, the gradient panel. But this time we're going to make some changes on the shapes as we put them in. So I've got my star shape over here pulled up, and you find that under the rectangle tool. So I'm using star and I'm pulling, but I'm holding on to my mouse button, and you can see, let me go down to a regular star here. There's our regular star. But if I continue holding down that mouse button while I drag the shape to exist and I use the up arrow or down arrow, I can increase the number of points of my star. So I'm going to crank that up maybe to there, and then release my mouse button. Now you can see also that I've got a gradient going on in there. The way I got that, and the reason it's pulling up as a gradient is because it keeps whatever your last setting was. So I had my star here. I go to my gradient tool and I dragged that across my star, and I can kind of change the angles and things. Now, when you do this, it's going to pull up automatically as a black and white gradient. But with this gradient panel open, I can double click on any of those points in the gradient and change the colors. So I went in and changed the white to a blue. And if I wanted to, I can move that dot on the gradient and bring more blue or more black into it. So that's how you change the gradients. I'll update that. I'm going to double click on the black, and let's maybe, I don't know, let's look at a green. That's kind of interesting. So there I've got the color of my background shape, and I'm just going to click on the selection tool and then on the board again so that I can release that. Since we're practicing with shapes and making more details and things, I'm going to go ahead and drag a second star, and I'll make that one a little bit bigger. Whoops, I am not selected on my shape tool. I was on my selection tool. So I'm coming back down to my star shape. I'm going to drag, and maybe this time I want more points, so I'm using that up arrow again. Okay, and then I'm going to release my mouse button and get my selection tool, and I'll drag that over to edit my shape. Or if I wanted to make it something different, I can drag it around and change that. Since we played with the shape builder a little bit, I'm going to just get rid of that one. And I'll click on my original star that I've got there. And underneath it, I get this little menu that pops up. All I have to do is click on that plus sign, and it creates a duplicate. So maybe I want to just build some shapes out of that same item. Yeah, and we'll do one more. It's getting a little messy, but I kind of want you to see the example of it. Okay, so then if I want to play with my shape builder, I'm going to hold down my shift key and select all of these shapes. And then I'll click on my shape builder tool, my icon over here. And I'm going to start dragging around some of the things that I want to include. You notice I'm kind of just going around the outside and catching all of these points and things because I'm going to put some text in the middle, and I want it to stay clear enough that we can see it. So I'll let go of that. And now it has built my shape. So I'm going to take my selection tool. There's my whole shape. But when I look at it, it's really only grouped. You can see it's actually blended the colors of that background there. So if I do the direct selection, I can make some other edits on that. I'm going to Control Z back out of that because I don't like how those colors blended. I like this version of it better. So I'm going to stick with that. What I am going to do is go in and play with that transparency a little bit and just see if I can see anything that I like. There's light and screen is kind of cool. And you can't really see a true image until you click off of it, so you're not seeing those path lines. But I'm kind of liking that overall. I'm going to go grab another shape. This time I think I'll get, well, maybe I'll just do another star, but I'm going to change the color of it. And I don't want that many star points. There, that looks good. And I'm going to drag that over to the middle. But this time I'm going to select just a color for that one, not a gradient. So it gives me an open spot for my text. I'll click on that background to deselect, and then I can take my text tool and just drag that. Not sure what I want to put on here for now. We'll just go with my initials again. And I'm going to then see if I can make it go a little bit bigger. Let's see if it'll let me go up to, say, 150. Does not want to do that because I hadn't selected it. Here, we'll try it again. 150. Like that. Maybe what I need to do is actually scale down the size of my graphic, and then I can do what I want with it. I'm going to play with the color on that a little bit. So back over in transparency, I am going to, let's see, maybe we'll go soft light. Doesn't show up really well there, but I kind of like that idea. Maybe making a shadow. So we'll go hard light with one, and then I'm going to duplicate that item. Show properties, reset. Oh, it's not going to let me with that one. So then I right click and I can copy and right click paste. There, I've got it, but I want to change one of them to be that soft light. So I'm going to drag that one up and kind of put it behind my other one. Let me deselect things so you can see that effect. I could actually make a whole another set of letters that are white or that are gray, so I can add a shadow or a highlight around it. And that's just a really basic, combining the shapes and using the gradient. I don't want to get into anything too complex this week because I know there are a lot of controls to learn and a lot of things to play with in here that you're going to want to explore. So yeah, like I say, I don't want to overburden you with a lot of things that I'm requiring this week. I'm using the eraser tool right there. So unlike Photoshop, you can see that it's coloring through everything because everything is on the same layer, how I've set it up. So I'll Control Z that. Don't forget that in your shapes layer, there's also the line segment tool. So if you wanted to draw a line as part of your logo, you could do that as well. And remember that we've got the fill and the stroke, so we can change the appearance of those. You can change the opacity. I'm going to bring the stroke way up on this so you can see that. And, I don't know, maybe I'd want a great big horizontal. I don't, though. I think that's about what I'm looking for. I'm going to use my selection and I'll scooch that up underneath. And okay, yeah, I kind of like that look, and it does help the text stand out, and I've got the highlight behind it. So that would be something I would be happy using as a logo. keep in mind, these don't have to be intense, perfect things. I want you to actually spend a little time and have some fun with it and learn the tools. But again, I'm not expecting perfection, but get something out of here that is with your theme, or if you use the logo builder, maybe that kind of reflects that. I know that some of you might be tempted to use AI to help create this. I would love it if you would spend your time trying to learn the tools instead of filling in with AI. Learning these tools, learning the process is going to be what you take from this experience. And if you're using AI to build your projects, you're not really learning those tools, which is really, it doesn't hurt me or anyone else, but it doesn't allow you to learn the tools as well. So get in there, play with the logos, look at the different settings. If you can't find something that you know you're looking for, always jump into Google and you can just say, Illustrator, how do I change the number of points on a star? Or how do I adjust shapes? And there are usually plenty of articles that will help you with that. Getting back into these shapes, I just want to give you one reminder again. So I draw the shape, and while I'm still holding down the mouse button, I can drive my mouse around and change the angle, but I can also change the number of anchor points that are at an angle, so it changes the appearance of the shape. You can do that really with any of the shapes. Remember, I'm going to delete that as well, that you can change the stroke. So I could come in here and increase a stroke, and you'll start to see that. And it's kind of interesting to have different colored strokes on it and see the difference of what it does. So I've got a white stroke on that right now. Let me just jump out. And you can see that gave me kind of a neat look. And it's giving these different looks, not just a uniform stroke, because I am using screen and I use some of these other settings on my other stars. I'll just keep playing with that just a little bit. And let's give that one a stroke too. I really like that, how it's giving the black outline, but then on the parts that are lighter or the overlaps, we're getting a whole different, without a whole different style. So I'll go in and of course you can look at the stroke number up here at the top and make those strokes a uniform weight if you want to do that. So here is what I'm starting to get. I kind of like the fractured look. I'm not super happy with the stroke, so I'm going to keep working on that. But get in there and play around, see what you can do. You're not going to break anything on it. You can always Control Z back out of what you did. And we'll just keep jumping back, lowering that stroke 1 point at a time. But you can just kind of link back through those things that you've done until you get back to a point that you're happy with, and then start editing again. I think this is a really fun way to look at designing a logo, and I hope you have a good time with it as well. And I can't wait to see what you come up with for your logo iterations. Have a fabulous day, and I will see you next time.